You are live. Okay, we're live. How exciting.
Yes.
So welcome to the show. It's Brisket Boomers here, and we've got guests today. It's very exciting. We have Miss Laugh a Lot, and we have Jen or Jennifer. So you can see under their faces, their links or whatever those are, their names. All three of us are type 1 diabetics, but we all have different stories. So I'm just going to ask, I have a few questions and to get us started on the discussion. And then we might be set free to talk about whatever interests us. But and last week we went live, but there was a big problem with the sound. So hopefully the sound is better this week. And we are going to start the same way, telling a short version of our diagnosis stories. And I'm going to go first, just because I get to. um, anyway, I was 15 and I was feeling really bad for a while. So my mom took me to the doctor and he didn't check anything. Now this was 1971. So, oh, that's interesting. So I am age 71 and it was diagnosed in 71. And he basically looked at my mom, he rolled his eyes and he's offered a B12 shot, and that was it. So a year later, after I felt horrible for a solid year, I finally got the classic symptoms of type 1 diabetes, which is excessive thirst and excessive urination. So, but she was so afraid to get embarrassed at the doctor again. She waited until I was spotting in my underwear between periods. And she said, "Oh, I can take you to a gynecologist." So the gynecologist was able to diagnose me with type 1 diabetes by smelling my breath. And that's when it all started. So I was in the hospital for a week. I was given exchange lists that told me I had to eat 6 bread exchanges a day. And I knew that I would get fat if I ate that much bread. So I also knew that doctors weren't great at nutrition. And even at 16, I knew, well, I think I know more than they do about nutrition. So that's what started my diabetes story. But at about 22, I got interested in health and nutrition and decided that the human body could heal. So I have been on a quest since I was 22 to figure out how to heal. And even though type 1 diabetes is supposed to be something once you're diagnosed, that's it, I still work towards healing. And that's what brought me to the carnivore diet. Okay, so that's basically my story of diagnosis. And Jennifer, would you like to go next? What is your short story of diagnosis?
Sure. I'll try to pare it down as much as possible. At the time before I was diagnosed, I was working as a manager trainee for Kinney Shoe Corp. I just dated myself. And I walked past a kiosk every day that said, "Are you at risk for diabetes?" And it had the top 3 signs: thirst, urination, and sleep. I was like, "Well, yeah, but I'm working all these hours and I'm working out and this and that." So I was diagnosed July 9th, 1994. That year, for July 4th, living near Albany, New York, we went down to see the fireworks. And I had to use the bathroom so bad, I jumped the fence and ran along and ran through the area where you're not supposed to go so I could get to the porta potties. At that point, I'm like, something is really wrong. So the following Tuesday, I went to my
Oops.
regular doctor and said, "Can we do a finger stick just to see where my blood sugar's at?" Like, "No, you have to make an appointment."
Oh,
Oh, wow. Actually, it was a Thursday.
that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
How old were you at that time?
22.
Oh.
22. And they're like, no, we can't do the finger stick, make an appointment. So that was on Thursday, an appointment for the following Tuesday. And I just kept feeling worse and worse and worse. Friday night into Saturday, I probably slept like 16 hours. And when I woke up, I'm like, this is not right. So I went over to another doctor that I had seen. They did a finger stick. I hadn't had anything to eat or drink for more than 18 hours, and my blood sugar was over 400, which is low because I've heard, other diagnosis stories, but the PA goes, why on a Saturday? Why'd you do this to me? I'm like, well. So they called ahead down to Albany Med. Down I went. So that was Saturday. Sunday, I had Dr. Daniel Lee. He came in and he started practicing right after the DCCT publication came out, and he was involved in that. So he sat on my bed on Sunday morning. On a Sunday morning in the hospital, here's the doctor sitting with me, talking with me, and we talked for over an hour. And his last question was, you have two choices. One, you can do nothing, let diabetes control you, or two, you can control it and live your best life. Really wasn't a hard choice. It was option number two. And, over the years, trying to do everything that, was being told to do. Let's do the carb counting. You need to eat so many carbs per meal. You need to be eating so many times a day. And with that, my weight just started ballooning, and, my insulin requirements were through the roof. I was taking upwards of 80 to 100 units of insulin a day.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And my first journey towards ultimately becoming carnivore is I started doing the paleo diet. Okay, weight started coming off, my insulin requirements went down, and then, I went keto. Then I went ketovore, and then I went carnivore. My daily insulin requirements now are maybe 16 units, maybe. And that majority of that is just basal. I might take 2, maybe 3 units total to cover the food that I eat. But yeah, no, diabetes is definitely a journey. It can be your friend and it can be your enemy. So I call it my frenemy. And diabetes equals insanity. So I think, what every dictionary I look in, they go together. So, we do the same thing every day, and it's different every day. One day it's normal. The next day it's high. The next day it's low. The next day it's a combination. And we just keep going on the hamster wheel. So, but carnivore is definitely, has been the solution for me, and I'm absolutely loving it. Living my best life.
That's awesome. That's a
All
great
right.
story. I got to take some insulin for my lunch.
Okay.
But so,
Go for it.
can I talk with this in my mouth? Nikki, can you tell your abbreviated story of diagnosis, please?
Sure. Thanks again for inviting us here. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm delighted to be surrounded by type 1 diabetics, right? I'm always around like plenty of type 2s. They're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But type 1s, that's a different story. First off, I didn't mention this last show. My nephew and I were diagnosed within 6 months of each other in 23.
wow.
So, yes. So he was 30 years old, and I had just turned 48, but I had obviously had diabetes before that. So my first recollection of the first symptom that shocked me all to heck was I woke up one night and I had this pain in my calf. Like it was it was a cramp in my calf that was so painful. I jumped out of bed and then I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I thought I was having a stroke. And something told me, just squat. So I started squatting. I'm half asleep. I'm squatting. And so obviously there was a severe magnesium deficiency, right? But anyway, what developed soon after was the urination. I had to pee like it seemed like maybe 10, 20 times a night, it seemed. And it was just like a fire hose type of pee. It was and the dreams were very vivid, lucid dreams all night. Like I'd go pee, but of course I'm being woken up all the time from going pee. But I would slip into this deep, deep lucid dream every time. And they were so colorful. It was really, really cool, really beautiful. Um, and of course I was thirsty, and just unbelievable thirst. And then I after a few months of resisting going to the doctor, which was it was I call it torture by urination, but I finally went to the doctor, and then they told me that I was type 2. And so yeah, and that's when I heard about the carnivore diet. And and after 6 months of wasting away because of the diagnosis of type 2, but it was actually type 1, which is very confusing to me. I was finally hospitalized for the first time. By then, I had wasted away to 84 pounds.
Wow.
84 pounds. I was lighter than my best friend's 11-year-old daughter.
Wow.
So my brain had shrunk. My head had literally shrunk. Severe brain damage had definitely set in, and because I had no fat in my brain nor my body. So once I started taking the insulin, everything started to obviously get better. And here I am. But
Wow.
Well, I have to say that reminds me of my story. I think I posted it on our WhatsApp group this morning, but um, my nephew in 2012 was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at age 30, but
hmm,
he was given type 2 diabetic drugs and sent home, and he actually died. He did not wither away. He just did not wake up the next morning. So it's pretty dangerous. And I always like to spread awareness about this. If you're really thirsty and you're peeing a lot, go get tested. Make sure, get a diagnosis as soon as you can. But that's really interesting that you were diagnosed as type 2, because that can be, and it's usually because um, doctors seem to think that if you're like over 30, it can't be type 1, but we see now that that's not true, that you can be diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at any age, at 2 weeks old or at 60. You can be diagnosed at any age. So it's good to be aware of the symptoms of high blood sugar, which is basically type 1 diabetes, and there's other tests you can do. You can do a C-peptide test. That's the test to find out whether you make insulin or not. So those are both the tests that you get when you want to find out whether you're being a type 1 or type 2 diabetic. So let's see. So Jennifer, how did you find carnivore?
My better half, John, probably about 5 years ago, he found Dr. Kiltz and, started watching his live streams and learning more about doing carnivore, what it was about. And for me, I had that common misconception that going into ketosis is bad, because the only thing I knew about ketones was ketoacidosis. So
Right.
very, very huge difference. So the more the videos that I was watching on YouTube, Dr. Kiltz, Dr. Barry, Dr. Berg, Dr. Eckberg, Dr. Boz, I know, let's see, Dr. Seawist, Dr. Chafee, all of just watching, going, wait a minute, I can do this. So I started doing it, started cutting out the carbohydrates, and all of a sudden I'm seeing my weight come off. I'm like, oh, okay. I do take, along with insulin, I do take a GLP-1. And I do that not for weight loss. I do it because it does help with my blood sugar control. Yeah, I've noticed the weeks where
really?
I do not take it, my blood sugar starts doing this. When I have the
Wow.
GLP, my blood sugar is very smooth. It's almost
Hmm.
flatline.
Wow.
And I went hardcore keto. I mean, I went the low end of keto. Where are you at, Amy?
84
Nice.
with a nice straight line.
Nice. Yes. Yes. Um, so I started doing that, and I went to the low end of the ketogenic diet when I started the GLP-1. And at that time too, I was also taking an SGLT2. And I'd been taking an SGLT2 since they first came out. My endocrinologist, the late Dr. Daniel Lee, he started me on it before he passed, and he passed in 2012.
Is
So
that the GLP?
no,
No,
the
it's a
the
different.
SGLT2 is like Jardiance, Farxiga, and Invokana is
Oh.
what an SGLT2, and basically it's a type 2
Oh,
medication.
it's a type 2 medication. Well, you might be LATA,
Now, now I
which
was full
is,
blown.
well, I know, but
Yeah.
that's almost like having type 1 and type 2 at the same
Mhm.
time.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
definitely type 1,
Oh, yeah.
but it's a latent
Latent autoimmune
autoimmune
disorder in
diabetes
adults.
of adults.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Always have to think really hard to get that
I know.
out.
I know.
Well,
Yeah, because it was so when I did that, when I started doing the lower end of the ketogenic diet, started the GLP-1, the first 3 months, I lost, I want to say 30 pounds. And the doctor's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And I said, I'm also doing a low carbohydrate diet. And like, well, we don't know if that, one of the doctors like, oh, you can't do that. You have diabetes. I said, wait, you just told me I can't do
What?
something? Here, hold my sparkling water and watch. So, but I do know, some people say, oh, it's the GLP-1. That's why you lost all the weight. No, it's not. It's because I changed my lifestyle. I
Right.
went from
Right.
the SAD, the SAD diet,
Yeah.
the SAD
Yeah.
lifestyle to a ketogenic lifestyle. And all of a sudden, I'm sleeping through the night. I have energy. My blood sugar's not, I'm not on that wild roller coaster ride anymore. And things are leveling out. And the more that I did, and the less of the carbohydrates that I of the intake, the better I felt.
Right.
And
Right.
I went from being, overall at that point, I think I was a size 14. I'm down to a size 4 or 6 now.
Right.
And
That's awesome.
thank you. And people look at me and I'm like, we're always our own worst critic. I'm like, I need to lose a little weight. And they look at me going, just shut up. um, but it's for me, carnivore works best. If I go somewhere and I have a steak and it's been cooked with a seed oil, I know within 5 minutes
Mm-hmm.
my body rejects anything that's not carnivore. And it's incredible. Even if, it's like if we look at our ancestors during the fall, if there were berries available, they would eat the berries, but only when they were available.
Right.
I can
right.
kind of do that when they're available. I can have like a small little bit of the berries. And
Mm-hmm.
boy, do they taste really good. But I know for a fact that they were just picked. So I'm good. Now, if
Right.
you get them from the supermarket, you don't know what's in them. You don't
Yeah.
know any of that.
Well, and
But
your body doesn't recognize it because
no,
it's completely
no.
out of season.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like really strawberries are not in season in January,
Right.
especially here in the
Exactly.
Northeast. That just no. And especially the big ones that are like almost the size of your fist.
Yeah.
Oh, they say, oh, it's not genetically altered. I'm like, excuse me, have you seen a wild strawberry? It's maybe the size of the tip of your pinky.
Yeah. It's
You
tiny.
know? So, but
And not very sweet either.
no, the wild strawberries are really good. I love those.
Yeah.
I call it a camp up on Lake Ontario. It's a nice sized camper that's in a seasonal site, and we have wild strawberries all over. And every once in a while I'm out there, I'm like, oh, that one looks really good. I'll pick it up and I'll go to eat. I'm like, yeah, all right, it's fun, whatever. And I'll put it in my mouth and squeeze it. I'm like, yeah, I don't want it. And I'll spit it out. My
Mm.
body just doesn't want it. I feel so much better when I'm eating the meat, and not just the meat, the fat that's on the meat.
Yeah.
Fat.
Yeah. And
The fat.
we've got
Yeah.
a smoker. John is really, really good with our smoker. And oh my
Oh,
gosh, come
awesome.
in and you get the fat that's been smoked. Oh my God, I'm making my mouth water right now.
Mine too.
We'll be over for some brisket. Just
I,
let us
I
know.
I know. And the brisket, we let it go low and slow for about 8 to 12 hours on the smoker. Oh my gosh. Oh,
Mm.
that's one of my favorites. I love brisket,
Yeah,
but
me
it's got to
too.
have that nice fat cap on it.
Yep. Yes. That
Yes.
nice fatty end. Yep.
Yes.
Well, of
Yes.
course, I love it. I named my channel after it,
Hmm.
right? So, so Nikki, how did you find carnivore?
Well, I had just started a house sitting job um, right when I was right after my appointment, about a few weeks after my appointment, and I had kept hearing about uh, the carnivore diet. Ken Berry, Terry Mann kept popping up, and so just after my doctor's appointment, I threw out all my fruits and vegetables. Like right when they told me that I was type 2. I threw out all my vegetables that I had just bought, like for this house sitting gig, and I started right away. Just because I kept hearing about them. It's just timing the exact right time. And so I've been carnivore ever since. Lately, I've been experimenting with more keto with ferments. I've been from
Mm-hmm.
experimenting, and
Mm-hmm.
because it just seems more logical to me, because of the vinegar, right? And that can help. It can help things, right? And I just want to, because I'm fairly new.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the experimentation mode, and I kind of want that mode, right? And but I mean, and I know, and right now I'm doing the DFF diet, which I'm calling the duck, fat, and fish. Lately, I'm on my 18th day, but I've had mostly fish. So
Oh,
my blood sugar loves sardines. Like there's
wow.
barely any insulin needed,
Hmm.
when you're just eating fish. When I'm eating meat, um, it can be chaos. It can be like candy, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
if I don't turn it off, if I don't have the off signal, it's just like eating candy, really. And my blood sugar is going to respond, like, it goes up higher,
Hmm.
right? It
On
goes up
beef.
higher
Yeah.
if I don't stop eating, right? But with the fish, I can it seems to be less. Of course, it's less of a spike with the fish.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's
and it,
interesting.
and I feel better on the fish. So I thought, well, I'm gonna experiment with this for 3 months and see how this affects my C peptides and everything.
Well, that's awesome. That's a good
Yeah.
experiment. I mean, that's what we have to be willing to experiment to
Hmm.
find what works because all type 1 diabetics are not the same. And it's interesting. I've always thought this. It's the name that we call this lack of being able to produce insulin, but everybody responds a little bit differently in their bodies
Hmm.
to that. And
Yeah,
so we're all a little bit different. I know people who, if they eat too much, carnivores, if they eat too much fat, they'll get insulin resistant.
yeah,
I'm not like that at all. I need to eat a lot of fat
Hmm.
for me. So we're all just a little bit different. I found so diagnosed in 71, by 1996, I was really
you're cutting out.
Yeah. Oh, she'll be back.
Yeah, yeah, she'll be back.
Yeah. Now, Nikki,
Are we back
what?
on? Oh, good.
Yeah, we hear
And
you.
now I
We don't
have
see
my do not disturb, and it's
you.
weird. So how's the sound? Can you hear
Sound
me?
is good.
Perfect. That's good.
Okay, good. Oh my goodness. In 1996, I was really sick, but it was with frozen shoulders, frozen hips. I felt horrible. And
Mhm.
then I found Dr. Bernstein and
Mhm.
found out about very low carb. So his diet is 30 grams or less of carbs every single day. So that's very low. So I had
Mhm.
been on that since 96. So, and then I tried raw vegan diet because I thought it was a healing diet. And I was on that for 7 years. And then I was not thriving. So after 7 years of that, I went keto, but I went very even lower carb on keto. So by the time I found carnivore, well, I did keto for 8 years. By the time I found carnivore, I was only eating meat and fermented vegetables. So I was eating less than like about 10 grams of carbs a day. And I was doing okay. But when I found carnivore, it was like, it was a long, it's been 7 years. But when I found it in 2018, there was only 3 videos about carnivore. Like if you go
Wow.
on YouTube now, there's millions of videos about carnivore. But in 2018, and that's not all that long, there were 3. Was Sean Baker and Michaela Peterson and Jordan Peterson on the
Mhm.
Joe Rogan show.
Mhm.
So I listened to those. I'm like, okay. And that's when I started. Um, and within 6 months, some of the things that I couldn't heal on the very, very low carb keto diet went away. So I want to go over what kind of benefits we all have had from going carnivore besides the diabetes. But for me, in the first 6 months, the floaters in my eyes went away they were really clouding my sight and I was having trouble seeing, and they completely went away. And then also my for the whole first 6 months of carnivore, I coughed up mucus every day.
Wow.
And then the next time I flew in an airplane, I did not have ear pain. And like I was afraid to fly because it hurt, my ears hurt so bad when we were taking off and landing. It was horrible. Then I got to fly and I was like so afraid, and my ears never hurt. And that was a big deal for me. It was a huge deal for me. And recently, because last week I was in a car wreck, and the car, I mean, it wasn't bad.
Uh-oh.
And it was our turn. Oh no. So our turn to go at the stop sign, and the car plowed into us. So my side of the car got hit, and the airbag went off, and I got seatbelt injury.
Mhm.
And I posted about it on Facebook and Instagram, and people were like, "Oh, you need to go to a chiropractor. Make sure your neck is okay," and all that. And it reminded me that before I was carnivore, even if I just did a sit up, my neck would go out. If I looked up at fireworks, my neck would go out. If I
Mhm.
slept funny on a pillow, my neck would go out. When every time it went out, I'd get a horrible headache. That didn't happen. That stopped happening on the carnivore diet.
Mhm.
And I also didn't need a chiropractor after this wreck. Yeah, I was in intense pain because of the injury, but my body wasn't messed up. Like I didn't need a chiropractor. My neck feels great. And that just seems like almost weird that a diet could have that big of an effect on it.
Mhm.
It's almost hard to understand, but those are mostly, when you get those funny veins, varicose veins in the in the insides of your feet. I don't know. I used to have them. They were all those veins were broken, and now they're not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even at my age, the veins in my feet and the insides of my feet are not broken anymore. Anyway, I think it's cool that you can be carnivore for 7 years and still find benefits that you didn't realize, you know. So
You just keep
Jennifer,
healing.
do you have a lot of benefits other than just the diabetes or your blood sugar?
Yes. One, I'm sleeping a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
I went from waking up periodically, this lovely thing called perimenopause. The doctor's always wanting to put you on hormone replacement therapy. And first, the cost of hormone replacement therapy is ridiculous. Insurance is like, oh, we'll cover this much, but oh yeah, here's a pill to take care of the pill to take care of a pill. And I don't like doing that. So my night hot flashes gone. On occasion, if I do wake up in the middle of the night and I'm sweaty, it's because my blood sugar is off.
Right. Low
That's
blood
simple.
sugars will cause
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah. And actually, I'm opposite. When my blood sugar goes up above like 120, 130, for me, that's high. That's when I start to sweat. When I go low.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. I'm the symptoms of hypo and hyperglycemia. I'm opposite.
Huh.
Yeah. It's fun. It's a fun journey. Other things, joint pain. That's gone.
Yeah.
The mental clarity is unbelievable. I could sit, by nature, I am, my daytime job is a CFO for a large nonprofit, and that requires a lot of mental clarity. And I could be asked a question about a financial statement from a year ago, and I'm able to give you the answer to that. And people are like, you didn't have to look. I'm like, no, because I'm the one that provided the financial statement. I reviewed it so I could remember it. Other things, my skin. Oh my gosh, my skin is just like, I feel that I look younger than I did pre-carnivore. And, it's just, people say, you do not look your age, Jen. I'm like, well, thank you. I don't like to act it either. So, but no, there's just so many benefits, and it just depends on the day. I'm also a long distance cyclist, so I could get on my bike and I love bike touring. Absolutely love it. It's my happy place. And I can get out there and be on my bike. I could ride 50, 60, 70, 80 miles, get off the bike and still have energy. Where I remember prior to being carnivore, I'd want to stop. I'm like, oh, I need to stop. I need to eat something. I need to this. I need to that. And then at the end of the day, you're getting off your bike. You're like, oh, now I got to set up my tent. Now it's like, oh, okay, let's just set up the tent. Let's just do what we've got to do. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's bedtime. All right, let's go to bed. And within a couple of minutes, I'm out. And it's just, just the benefits are absolutely incredible. I absolutely love it.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, Nikki, what are your other benefits?
Well, my story is different than your guys' because you had diabetes before, before carnivore, but I started immediately, so I don't have anything to compare it to. And so this is why another reason why I experiment with the keto and the ketovore now, because I want to know, right? I want to know how my body responds. If I'm going to help other people, I'd like to know how it affects my body too, right? And but the one thing that I notice is the mental clarity and the calmness, because I guess I've never been diagnosed as ADHD or ADD, whatever they call it, but I was hyper and I could just do 3 million things, or wanted to do 3 million things at once, and high energy. But now I'm calm. I still high energy, but I'm calm, more than that's one thing somebody said recently. It's like you've changed. Thank you. You're calm. Yeah, thanks.
Yes.
Yeah. Because my brain, before I was 16 years, I stopped eating bread, rice, and pasta for 16 years. So that was no big deal to me. I'm like, oh, So when I heard Terry Mann and about the carnivore diet, I'm like, well, that totally makes sense because I stopped another uh condition that happened like immediately by stopping the carbs. And
Mhm.
those are plants. Well, that like I'm like, well, that totally makes sense to me. That totally made sense to me. So I that's why I threw out all the fruits and vegetables that I bought and and just kept doing the carnivore thing. Um, but the biggest thing is the mental clarity and the happiness factor.
Mhm.
When I was vegetarian, um, it was a struggle to be happy, right? I couldn't understand, why uh, um when I grew up on the farm eating meat, I was happy. But then, when I left home and I started doing this vegetarian thing, I could not understand why it was hard, um, to be happy. It was, I struggled with anxiety and depression. And it was my hobby to self-development was my hobby, right? Because,
Mm-hmm.
transforming
Mm-hmm.
energy, right? That was my hobby. How do I transform my own energy? But looking back, it was my diet, right? Because I was eating a very low fat, uh,
Mm.
no sugar, not no sugar, but sometimes I'd have muffins, you know, and my thing was eating potato chips, once a month of my period, right? Like I'd have a thing like, oh, it's my period. I want to have some chips, right? But it was
Mhm.
my diet. So if I could go back, which you know, if I could go back, I would definitely have changed my diet and went carnivore. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, it is definitely
Yeah.
the sad diet. Not
Mhm.
the sad diet, right? Carnivore is
Right.
not the sad diet. Yeah.
Right. I was already through menopause when I found carnivore, and I often wish that I had been able to be carnivore while I was having a period, because it seems like, from what I hear other women talk about it, your period pain or those kind of symptoms that go along with a period usually get so much better. And it would have been fun to go through life with without period pain, right? That would have been nice.
I
Yeah.
never had that, but you know what? My periods were like a fart, like seriously, like gone. They were like 3 days, maybe a teaspoon of blood. That's it. It was
Oh
spotting
my
for
goodness.
Oh,
years,
I'm
for
jealous.
years. For like yeah, for that's all it was, right? So I
Uh-huh.
think that started early in my 30s. Like it just it my problem was way back then, and it was the diet. If I was eating fat, right, if I was eating fat and meat, I would have had a period. I didn't have
Mhm.
one really.
Oh wow. Wow.
But you struggled with yours, Jennifer.
Oh yeah. Yeah. 2015, I had a partial hysterectomy.
Oh
I
wow.
had, yeah, my uterus, it's only supposed to be the size of your fist, triple that. That
Oh
was the size
wow.
of the uterus, and the top of it was flipped over, and it was riddled with fibroid tumors. And what had happened is one had developed outside of the uterus. It was I just forgot the name, but the size of that tumor was about the size of my fist.
Oh
And I
Wow.
wow.
could feel that with cycling because the position on my bike, I'd be leaning forward. So I'd feel it come forward and put the pressure on the abdominal wall. When I'd stand up, it would go away. But if I were to lay down on my back, I could feel it putting pressure on my back. So I had partial hysterectomy done. And let me just say, I came out of surgery and I'm like, oh, there's no pain. Well, other than the catheter, but there's no pain. It was gone.
Wow.
I had been struggling from my first period. I think I was 10, almost 11 when I got my first period. And I had been struggling since about 16. And I had the hysterectomy. It took 30 years for the doctors to finally say, yeah, something, I'm like, you look through my chart and it's the same thing, no matter the doctor that I went to. It took 6 years to become pregnant with my son. And, when that happened, it was like, and then probably for a few months after his birth, everything was fine and normal. Then the whole cycle just started again. And it was awful. And like you were saying, Amy, I wish I knew about carnivore then, because how would it have affected everything? Because not
Right,
only,
right. It
you know,
would have
I
changed
also,
your
yeah,
life.
yeah, I also had my gallbladder removed in 2004, 2005. And, at that time, oh, you've got to go low fat. And I had, that was ingrained in you to be on a low
Yeah.
fat diet. And that's why
Yeah.
I don't have my gallbladder anymore, because it
Yeah,
was so ingrained in me.
that that causes death of the gallbladder.
Yeah. Yeah.
The low fat diet is what
Yep.
causes death of the
Yeah.
gallbladder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and with that, having no gallbladder coming into carnivore, I had to slowly increase the fat intake, because I'm like,
Right.
oh, I'll just eat what I'm supposed to eat. No, no, no. It's kind of like having a sugar alcohol where they say slight laxative effect. I think slight
Right.
and laxative
Yes.
never belong together.
No.
So I'm like, all right, let me back down and then slowly ramp up. Now I can sit down and say, the Delmonico steaks, I have that really thick fat on them. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'm eating that first and then I'm eating the meat, and
Awesome.
no
And so
issues.
so that's a good question
That's
and
a
a
good
good
point too.
clarification that you don't
Yeah.
have a gallbladder, but you're able to do carnivore just fine. You had to ease in to increase your fat,
Yes.
but you can do it and
Yeah, yeah.
it's great. And
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
just as many benefits as everybody
Oh,
else.
yes. Oh, yes. And it just took me a little bit longer to be to get to the target. I had to go
Right.
slowly, and
Right.
I was okay with that. It took me time, and also too getting over that whole what's been ingrained in us for so many years. Oh, you have to be low fat. So then you see the fat on the steak and you're trying to eat that, and getting, the texture and the flavor is unbelievable. But it's like trying to get over that, because your stomach, your brain is saying, no, 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 you shouldn't have this. So now it's causing my stomach to want to flip. And I'm like, no, I want this because it tastes so good. So it just, they're taking time. And again, that whole narrative that we have been sold for so long, you got to break it. Somebody says, oh, you can't do that. I'm like, watch me. I'm going to go do it.
Right. Right.
Oh, you have diabetes. You can't. I can't what? Oh, I shouldn't go skydiving. Oh, watch me. I'm going to go skydiving. Oh, you have diabetes. You shouldn't be doing long distance cycling. Watch me. I'm going to go do it. You have diabetes. You shouldn't do intermittent fasting. No,
Mm.
actually, I have diabetes, so that's why I should be doing intermittent fasting.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like almost everything that I've been told that I shouldn't be doing with my diet and my lifestyle, I've looked at the person and went, well, you can read between the lines, but I'm going to go do that right now. And it's breaking the norm. And it's also other people that I know with diabetes in the area, showing them that you don't have to take up knitting and sit in a rocker on the front porch. You have a life to live. You have a purpose for being here. Go out and do it. Live your life. Do what's going to make you happy. And if your doctor doesn't agree with you, well, find a new doctor.
Find a new doctor.
Yeah.
Type 1 diabetics can do anything that anybody else can do. They
And
just have
better.
to take insulin during the day.
Yep.
And 85. That's a beautiful line, right?
Yes, it is.
So
What's that in English?
that's a really like I've known women who are told you can't have babies,
Mm-hmm.
you should never
Mm,
get pregnant, you're only going to
mm.
live to 30, all these horrible things.
Wow.
And like you can run marathons, you
Mm-hmm.
can, I walk 10 miles every day. Whatever I can do to increase my insulin sensitivity
Yes. Yes.
is how I live my life.
Yeah.
And it's in the September and the first week of October, I was on the lion diet. So lion diet is, or my under eat beef and lamb. And I did that because it's the other parts of the carnivore diet, like eggs and butter and cheese and
Bacon.
bacon and bacon and chicken and
Bacon.
they can all be, people can actually be allergic to those
Yes.
foods.
Yep.
So they have a little bit of allergens, whether you're allergic to it or not, it's a little bit of an inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when you go on just beef and lamb, or you can also do deer and elk and
Mm-hmm.
bison. Anyway, oh, there's a big long comment. So I was able to lower my insulin by quite a lot. And I felt really good and I felt energized.
Mm-hmm.
I love how I feel on the Lion diet, but I psychologically and emotionally I have a difficult time without eggs and bacon and butter. So when my son was visiting last weekend, I'm like, okay, I'm going to eat beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. And I've been doing that since. And my insulin requirements have not gone up, but so far. And I'm able to take, when I was first diagnosed, I was on 32 units of insulin, which isn't a lot
No.
compared to other people, and I don't actually know why, but that's how much I was on. And then when I found the very low carb with Dr. Bernstein, I only needed 22 units of insulin. And then on carnivore, regular carnivore, it ranges between, say, 10 and 15. But right now, I'm closer to 8 to 10 units of insulin. And
And it's
what's that?
sorry.
No,
And
go
it depends.
ahead.
And sorry, but when we all have are creating different amounts of C peptides, right? Like you're I create less than you. I think I I know I do. I know I create less than you. You create more than me. We discovered that the other
Really?
day.
Oh, well, mine
Oh
is
yeah. You probably create
0.18.
yeah, you
That's pretty
create more than
low.
me.
Yeah. I'm not
But
even.
and
Yeah. Mine's not
there
measured.
no,
No. No. I have
Really?
absolutely
None at
none.
all? It's
None
just
at all.
zero?
Zero.
Oh, mine's
wow.
0.18, but that's very low. I would still
Yeah.
be diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
I
It
think
is
mine
higher than it was.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I
which
had
is
it tested,
amazing.
it was 0.1.
Yeah.
That that's
Well,
amazing.
I think that's the healing properties of the lion diet. That's why I wish that I could stay on it. And I'm always wanting to stay on it. I saw this long comment and now I can't get to it because I don't know
Well,
how to. Can anybody
well,
else see the comments?
no. I'd have to open up my other device. What on Facebook or YouTube? I'm not on Facebook.
YouTube.
Um, I'd have to see it here. But yeah, I think I'm at a 0.02. I have to look at my thing. I can't remember. But yeah, we determined the other day that you make more C peptides than
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
you don't make any. You don't make any. But that's really interesting because
I make
you
0.05. I just looked up my last results. It's point
oh,
zero.
then you
Well,
make more
then
than me then.
you make more than I do.
You make
That's a lot, actually.
No, not
I
point 0.5.
think
It's point zero
point
five.
oh,
zero
point
five. You're
zero
Yeah.
point
five.
one. So you make the most of us. Yeah,
Okay,
so you make more than me.
well, that's
Interesting.
interesting.
Eh,
I
well,
can't wait to meet more type 1 diabetics and compare C peptides.
yeah.
So let's talk about, are you both on the type 1 diabetic carnivore Facebook group?
No, I don't do
No.
Facebook.
So
No,
so
as
we
of
have a
I don't.
Facebook group called Type 1 Diabetic Carnivores, and we have 3,000 people on that Facebook group.
Wow.
So I get to talk to type 1 diabetics all day long
That would be amazing.
if I want to. So it might be worth it to you to join Facebook. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I just joined.
oh, awesome. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm one of the admins, so I can, right after this, I can go on there and approve you. That's awesome. I'm wondering if we have any questions in the comments. Juliet said that was her comment and it's not important, but I don't know.
sure it is. It's important. You said it.
I don't know how to get the other comments. Oh no. So how many people do we have watching, I wonder?
I don't know. Oh, I'm just on YouTube. Oh, I just opened up the YouTube. Oh, this is fun. This is interesting. Okay,
Okay,
so
so
now
how
I'm
many
on my
people
other.
do we have
Uh,
watching?
let me see. It's just loading up.
Okay.
It's thinking.
So Jen, do you use a pump
Yes. Yes.
and you have a CGM?
Mhm. Yep. I use the Dexcom G7 with the tandem Mobi pump.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, I was on the Omnipod 5. And prior to that, I was on Medtronic 670G, which was, well, my humble opinion, is nothing more than a glorified paperweight.
Oh my
When
goodness.
Yeah, well, when I was on that, before I started on the 670G, my A1C was 5.8. When I went off it, it was up to 6.9.
Oh
And
my
that's
goodness.
because the algorithm in there, you couldn't adjust what the your target blood sugar was.
Right, yeah,
And
that's yeah.
so then I went over to the Omnipod 5, and I was able to bring my A1C down to 5.8, bring it back down. But I had maxed out the Omnipod, and the Omnipod was supposed to learn me, but it wasn't helping with my dawn phenomenon, which
Oh, uh-huh.
still get that, and it frustrates me because some days it's
But it
push
wasn't
6 hours.
helping with my dawn phenomenon. With Sorry.
That's all right. And then I switched to Tandem Mobi probably about let's see, it was, what was it, end of July, beginning of August. It was right before the Boston meetup that I switched to that. And my A1C is down to 5.6. My ultimate goal is to get it down to 4.7. And and a lot of that, Dr. Bernstein's book is fabulous. Helping people, helping individuals with diabetes, be living their best
Right.
living their best
Right.
life,
Yes.
but
Yes.
following a very low carbohydrate diet. And that wasn't always the status quo, and it still isn't today.
No.
Back in 23, I went into euglycemic DKA, and
Mm.
DKA with normal blood sugars. Yay! Um,
Really?
yes,
And
my
what do you think
Really?
caused that?
the SGLT2 I was taking.
Oh.
So it was the Invocana that I was taking. So SGLT2s, if you are on a low carbohydrate diet, can cause euglycemic DKA.
Wow.
Why, I don't
That
100%
was
know.
that it. That
I've
must
heard
have been
someone
very
talk about
surprising.
that on a podcast, on a carnivore
Yeah.
podcast. It was a gentleman with type 2,
Mhm.
and it
Yeah.
happened to him too.
Yep. Yep. It's you know, here you are, your blood sugars are normal, and all of a sudden you're in DKA, and that was
Really?
awful.
Yeah, and surprising.
Yeah. Yeah. The
It's
actually,
caused from the medication.
yep. Yep. I was in the
Wow.
emergency room twice. The first hospital that I went to, they had to transfer me to another hospital because they didn't have an ICU or step down unit to admit me to. The hospital I was transferred to said that, oh, you're out of DKA, we're sending you home. I was still in full blown euglycemic DKA because they were only looking at where my blood sugar was. So that was Monday afternoon. Wednesday morning, I'm back at another hospital, and they pull me up. They're like, you were just here. I said, yes, I know. And the doctor that I had there, that emergency room staff had just had training on euglycemic DKA. So
Oh,
they
wow.
knew exactly what was going on. They knew what they needed to do. They admitted me up into the step down unit. I was there for a day and a half, 2 days. And when I left, I felt like a whole new person. But the first go around, actually, both of them, the endocrinologist that came in before I was discharged says, well, you shouldn't be on a low carbohydrate diet. You need to eat, a minimum 50 grams of carbohydrate per meal, and you need to eat at least 4 or 5 times a day. And I'm just thinking, so you're telling me to eat something that turns into sugar, that raises my blood sugar, that I then have to chase with insulin. Isn't the goal to reduce the amount of insulin we need to take? Because it's the insulin and what it does to our cells that's causing damage. If I didn't have to take insulin, I wouldn't, because I know the damage that it can cause.
Right. And for people who are not type 1 diabetics,
Yeah.
It's important for them to keep their insulin down.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's why carnivore is so helpful to them. But it's also our job to keep our insulin down and keep us very sensitive to insulin, because insulin is dangerous, whether it's from a vial or whether it's from your own pancreas.
Whether you're creating it, yeah.
Right? Yeah. So it doesn't matter. It's not, too much insulin is always a bad thing. Yes, we need insulin, but
yeah, we do.
We don't need a lot.
No.
Right. Yeah.
No.
I'm very thankful for my insulin.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm thankful for, the discovery of it. It's like, woohoo.
No doubt. I would be, we'd be dead.
None of us would be here right now.
No.
Some interesting stories I've also heard on another Facebook group that you guys couldn't be in, because it's called Type 1 Diabetics for 50 Years Plus.
Yeah, I'm only at 32.
It's a group. Well, that's a long time, but it's a group of older people. We got to at least be older than 50, and some of them aren't that old. Some of them are just barely 50. But they have talked about how dangerous it is for a type 1 diabetic to go into a hospital and be treated, and because the people that work in the hospital don't necessarily know how to give insulin correctly.
Nope.
And that there's people that have been almost died in nursing homes because they weren't allowed to take insulin like they knew they were supposed to.
Yes.
And it's just horrible, these stories that I hear.
Yep.
And I'm sure that some hospitals are much better than others, but I've also heard horror stories. And when I was in the hospital several years ago, I ended up with very high blood sugar because I had a kidney infection and they couldn't find it. So I was admitted because they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me for a while. And I was able to bring my own insulin and syringes in and my meter, and I did all that for myself. And if you're conscious and you're in a hospital, fight for your rights to treat yourself with your own insulin, because it's important that you stay alive.
Yeah, my recent bout, the bout of euglycemic decay, when I was in the hospital the second time, I had my Omnipod turned off. Because the way that you bring everything back in line and you get out of DKA is they're giving you a saline dextrose strip along with insulin at the same time, because your body needs that sugar to be able to get you out of DKA. But they're giving you, giving you a very small basal amount of insulin to keep your blood sugars from going too high. Of course, mine went too high. They were up at about 200. I felt awful. Went to turn my Omnipod back on, and it was having a communication error with the CGM. So, they get on the phone with the endocrinologist. Oh, give her X amount of, I think it was Lantus. And I said, oh, no, you're not. Well, yeah, once your pump connects, turn it on. I said, I can't do that. I said, because what you're giving me is a long-acting insulin that's going to be in my system for anywhere from 24 to 48 hours, which means I can't turn the pod on because it's giving me a basal rate, which is what you're trying to give me here. A what? I had to educate the endocrinologist on that.
Mm.
Oh my goodness.
That blew my mind. The fact that here's somebody who is trained in diabetes, book trained, but not street trained. And I think, changing the narrative is, yeah, I could go see an endocrinologist. I go see a PA or a certified diabetic educator instead. Why? Because they're the ones that are on the front line. They see how life and diabetes interact. My PA right now knows that I do the carnivore diet. She wants me to work with her other patients to help them understand the benefits of a low carbohydrate diet and intermittent fasting. She wants her patients to do that because she knows that that
That's
is the only
awesome.
way that her patients are going to feel better. But yet,
Wow.
when I talk to other doctors, like, oh no, you can't do that. You have diabetes. You can't. And
Right.
again,
Yeah.
as I said before, don't tell me I can't do something, and but it's like, and then the doctors start seeing, oh, she's doing good. She's thriving on it. I'm like, well, yeah, if I wasn't, I wouldn't be doing it. And so it's being that example that the doctors can go to and say, oh, well, I do have a patient that's doing this, and their numbers. So if you look at my labs, you take out the C-peptide, you would have no idea that I have diabetes. And
Right.
that's the
Right.
way that I want
Yeah.
it. That's the way
Yeah.
that I want it. And that's the way it's going to stay. And, my goal, A1C of 4.8. And when it's
Wow.
my time to go on to the other side of the terra firma, I'm going to come running in, sliding in, going, that was great. Let's do it again. You know,
Well, my last A1C, believe it or not, was 4.8.
Wow.
awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, I've worked really hard for that. I
Yes.
call it sub 5. That's
Yes.
always my goal, to get a sub
Hmm.
5, and it's not easy.
No, it isn't.
Even on carnivore,
No.
because the
Yeah.
protein, if you don't catch it right and you don't take your
Yep.
insulin at exactly the right time,
Hmm.
that protein can really spike, and
Yep.
this can be quite a challenge to
Yes.
figure out.
Yep.
That's
But
what I'm still learning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I also, um, like with the Mobi and the algorithm that's in it, I don't bolus. It does it for me.
It
So
does it for you.
it's starting to sense that I'm trending up, and it will give me a
that's
bolus.
amazing.
But then what I find, there's sometimes, stress affects my blood sugar, or that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe it's the way that the food was prepared. There was something in there and I'm starting to spike. Okay, the pump has given me a bolus, but I'm still spiking. I grab my Afrezza, my inhalable insulin, and that starts acting within 5 minutes. So
Wow.
it keeps my blood sugar from getting too high. So then when the insulin that's been injected with the bolus comes into effect, my blood sugar is where it anticipated it to be to bring it down. And then again, that also trying to educate doctors on that, trying to educate insurance companies on that. I think that is the most frustrating part. Um, well, you haven't tried this other insulin. I'm like, dude, you have access to my prescriptions. Yeah, the first one you listed is the one that I take, but that, I think that would be another good podcast.
Well, okay. My so I've been on old school insulins. I take NPH and R, which are the
Okay.
insulins that have been around the longest.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's partly that, and partly
Mhm.
was cost, because I can buy them for $25
Yes.
per vial. But
Yep.
many carnivores use the R insulin for their bolus,
Mm-hmm.
because it's slower and lasts longer, kind of like a piece of meat. When you
Yep.
eat it, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't digest right away. It digests a little bit later, and it takes longer to digest. So the
Mm-hmm.
R insulin matches the digestion of the
Yes.
meat better.
Yep.
But I had asked my endocrinologist, of course, I told her that I ate carnivore. And she was like, well, I don't agree with the way you
Mm-hmm.
treat your insulin, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And but she would not prescribe faster acting insulin that I would like to use in case my blood sugar goes high.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And that's,
Hmm.
in a case like that, that's where Afrezza is absolutely perfect.
That would be handy.
Oh, good.
Mhm.
And it leaves the system quicker too, I hear. Right? The Afrezza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in your
That would
system
be handy.
within
The
like
Quick.
5 minutes.
inhalable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inhalable insulin. Yes.
Yeah,
I don't think we can get that in Canada.
You
no,
can.
we can't. Oh, in
Really?
Canada, I don't
Mhm.
know. I'm not
Yes.
sure.
Yeah. Because
But
I
she
was
won't.
just, I was
I
at
don't think
the
so.
one conference in San Diego back in August, and Afrezza's been around for 12 years.
I'm sure I looked it up and they didn't have it.
Yeah.
But maybe, yeah, they do now.
Yeah.
I'm
Maybe
gonna look
so.
it up.
So
Yeah.
my
I'm gonna look it up.
endocrinologist will not prescribe me a faster insulin because I often go low. And she thinks it would be too dangerous for me to have a fast acting insulin, which I would like to have because I need it quick when my blood sugar goes high. But
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
but
So, I
anyway,
mean, even using like Humalog, Novolog, or Fiasp, those
no,
would be
she,
great because
I know,
they're
she won't
faster
prescribe
acting.
them. You
But
have to
then
have a prescription for that, and she will
yes.
not prescribe them to me.
Wow.
So I
Hmm.
do not need a prescription for the NPH or the R.
No.
So when I have a high, what I
Mhm.
do is I take an R in my deltoid
Mhm.
muscle. So
Mhm.
it goes in quicker. So it takes about an hour for my blood sugars to come down
Wow.
if they were high, which
Wow.
but if it was the inhalable insulin, it would take like 10 minutes, right?
You
Yeah.
you will see it come down on your CGM. You'll see it within about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I've
And
never injected in the muscle.
it hurts.
So
Well, it
yeah,
makes it go in your bloodstream faster.
quick.
Mhm.
So then I'm gonna try that. Because this is getting exhausting at times with just going into
Yeah.
the thought.
Mhm.
I'm gonna try
Anytime,
that
yeah, anytime you're high, you can do a shot inside in
Mhm.
your
in the
deltoid
muscle,
muscle
the
Yep.
and it goes
deltoid.
in faster. Yes,
Mhm.
right up here. Yep. Yep. That
Okay,
was the
I'll
Dr.
try that.
Bernstein trick.
Yep.
Okay.
As I learned that from Dr.
Mhm.
Bernstein.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's, but that's crazy. So she would rather you take regular and let your blood sugars go high than give you an insulin that will come into your bloodstream faster and keep your blood sugars within that.
I mean, in some ways, I agree with her because I'm so sensitive to insulin
Mhm.
that one, half a unit too
Yeah.
much could send me in the
Yep.
20s.
Yep.
So
Definitely.
I in a way, even though I don't think she's exactly right, I kind of have the same worry because because
Mhm.
I walk 10 miles a day and I've been a carnivore for as long as I have. I am super sensitive to insulin. So sometimes I can go really low
Yes.
really fast.
Yep.
And um it's, it's
Yeah.
and insulin is a dangerous substance.
Yeah. Too little and it will kill you. Too much and it will kill you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So we get to play scientist, chemist every day.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I
So
know.
let me see one more question. We have gone for an hour, so I don't want to go too much longer, but um, I would like to talk about what a world would be like if when you are diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, the the doctors and nurses recommended a carnivore diet. What would that world look like?
Hmm.
Tasty. No, for myself, like with my experience, it would have eliminated so much stress, so much anxiety, so much worry. Instead of constantly chasing that roller coaster of blood sugars and constantly trying to stay within this range where the tools that I had were unrealistic to keep in that range, just how much sooner I would have felt better, how much better of a person I would have been during that time, and not having to worry, oh, it's only 24 oyster crackers that I can have because that's what the serving size is.
Mm-hmm.
Not having to do that, to know that what I was doing was not just for that moment, but also looking for 30, 40, 70 years down the road.
Right.
And not being reactionary, but being visionary. I think that's
And
what it would be, is it would be visionary. The diet that's recommended now is reactionary. And to change something, you got to break the mold, and you have to be visionary, and you have to be ready to take risks and take chances.
Nikki, what do you think?
I think it would definitely eliminate a lot of anxiety and confusion.
Yeah.
Do I think that people would follow it? Maybe a lot wouldn't, because there's a huge component of addiction and resistance, right?
Yep.
Because for so people who love their carbs or their fried rice, pasta, cake, ice cream, and cookies and all that, like, they're gonna do it, right? So, but for the people but I mean, if doctors got serious about it and started recommending it, I mean, maybe people would change their minds. I don't know, but you can't tell an alcoholic just to quit drinking, right? Because it's bad for you, right? Who cares? Like, they're just gonna do it
Right.
anyway, right?
Right. Right.
Like, I met a
Well,
diabetic. I meet diabetics all the time at the gym, and it's interesting just to hear what they say and how they respond to their life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The other thing that you said too is that we're given information. And I know, like, going through Dr. Kiltz's course with additional information for being a health coach, that's where we come in to help the individual. So you have somebody who's newly diagnosed, that's where we come in to help them with their addictions, to help them with their sugar addiction, to help them to be the best that they can be. And if it's the ketogenic diet where they're eating 50 grams of carbs a day total, and that's the best that they can be, great. But we've
yeah.
helped them
Yeah.
do that.
That's true. Yeah.
So that way they're not dealing with all that anxiety and that fear and the frustration of how we're being told to do things now.
Mhm. And they'll have somebody on their team. A lot of
Yes.
people don't do it because they don't have,
Mhm.
a lot of support around them, right? People are just saying, "Oh, just have one, just have one." We can't just tell an alcoholic to have one beer or
No,
whatever, have
no.
one beer. No, I
Well,
can't.
at this
Right?
point, doctors and medical professionals don't even recommend low carb.
No.
Oh,
So,
what? Like, it's
I mean, some do,
Mhm.
but a majority do not. And the severe complications that you can get from both type 1 and type 2, if
Mhm.
it's not controlled well and you have high blood sugars all the time, you can lose limbs. You can
Yes.
lose your feet. I mean, first you lose your toes, then your feet, then your leg. And I've known people that have lost fingers. You don't lose them; they get cut off because they get infected,
Yep.
and or you go
what
blind. I've heard stories of
Mhm.
type 1 diabetics going blind
Yep.
from uncontrolled blood sugars.
Yeah.
Um, so it just feels like there's a lot more than that could be done
Mhm.
to help newly diagnosed diabetics understand that the carnivore diet is a choice, and
Yes.
it's a choice that more and more people are experimenting
Mhm.
with and having
yeah.
really And anyway, that's,
Yeah.
that's my hope, that the more that people are trying the carnivore diet, the more popular it will get, the
Mhm.
more accepted it will be by medical professionals, and the more accepted it'll be for newly diagnosed, and not just newly diagnosed, all type 1
Mhm.
diabetics. I think it would make a huge difference in
Oh, yeah.
people's lives.
Yeah. It definitely would. Definitely. And, you know, that's why we're here.
Yep.
That's our mission. Should you choose to accept it.
That was going to be my words. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. This
Yes.
has been wonderful. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank
Mhm.
you. It has been great. I'm glad it worked. I'm so
Mhm.
happy that we got through
Yeah.
it. And I
We did it.
appreciate you guys so much. And thank you so much for being on the video. This was
Yes.
great.
Yes. Thank
Um,
you. Thank
Thanks
you.
for the invite.
all
Yes,
right.
thank you.
Yes,
All right.
definitely. Definitely. All
So
right.
you guys and the people who are watching, y'all share this video for us.
Yes,
So get
definitely.
it to more people. It'll be great. It'll be great.
Definitely. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Mhm.
Oh, where does it say end? Oh, end.
Top right.
I
Top
got it.
right. Yeah.
Mine's bottom right, but okay.
Oh, yeah. Yours is different than mine.